Although we as human beings, of course, learn from the very day we are born, a lot of our learning is done within the framework of school education. Andreas Schleicher is Director for Education and Skills at OECD, and A. Lynn Goodwin is Dean of Faculty of Education at the University of Hong Kong. We will now start with a short talk by Director Schleicher, and then he will join Dr. Goodwin in a discussion led by Carin Klaesson.
Warmly welcome Lynn Goodwin and Andreas Schleicher. Before we start our discussion on the future of school education, we will have a brief introduction from you, Andreas. So please.
Yeah.
Okay, so technique is failing us, but let's continue anyway. If we're talking about the future of the education systems, my guess is that the ideal education system is well anchored in the presence, should be relevant and adapted to the needs of society. But how do we prepare for the future? How do we predict a society that is yet to be developed? Lynn.
Thank you so much, and hello to everyone. I'm going to start my comment by borrowing something from Esther Duflo, one of the Nobel Prize winners in economics. And I was struck by a comment that she made where she says, good economics does not assume a conclusion, but is willing to question assumptions at every turn in light of new evidence. And so I want to sort of use that saying to say that good education also, good schools, should not assume a conclusion either, but must cultivate skills in learners to keep asking questions and searching for creative solutions. So the reality is that, we've never been very good at, schools, educators, at predicting the future. So the constant focus that we have right now on trying to imagine what future trends would be and using education to meet them may have us sort of looking in the wrong direction. Especially since if we look backwards, history indicates that education has always been much better at sort of reacting to future as it arrives, rather than predicting what lies ahead. So I think that we have to think about educating for ways of thinking and doing and acting and being that are enduring and can enable young people to pivot and adapt as the future arrives. And that includes, pivoting and adapting today. We actually have, some ideas about how to do this. And the reality is if we could enact those ideas, we could actually, sort of equip young people with the sort of open-ended skills that they need to be ready for an uncertain future. We talk a great deal about 21st century competencies. We're 20 years into the 21st century, and we are still sort of reaching for those skills, such as collaboration or critical thinking. The fact is that even though we are focused on these competencies and we talk rhetorically about them all the time, we have not been able to realize them or actualize them. So in some ways, if we could do what we say is important to do, we would already be sort of ready for the future along with our students. The second thing I would say is that because schools are better, but only by comparison, to responding to emerging needs, I would like to suggest that one thing we ought to do as we think about schooling for the future is to help young people imagine the future they would want and to help them work towards that. So rather than thinking the future is murky and blurry and I don't know what it's going to look like, to say, what do I want my future to be for me and for my community and for my family and for my friends, and to help young people play an important role in shaping that future, the future that is inclusive and safe and kind to everyone.
We have lost Andreas into space, so we'll continue and hope that he will come back to us. But oh, maybe we have reached him now. We'll see. To continue, Lynn, with the premises for education systems around the world, they do differ, and does a sustainable education system in the future require some sort of a foundation, like democracy, equality, basic human rights, economic stability? Is there a ranking order in what's needed to come first?
That is a very hard question. I think that because there are so many important issues that we need to solve, to face, to manage, to imagine as a society, and young people are the ones who will take care of that. We are not. Myself, I'm an example of a person who will not necessarily be part of that future, certainly for as long as they will be. So I think rather than trying to decide what's more important, the first thing is to bring young people into the conversation, because there's a lot of anxiety amongst young people. I mean, there is now a phenomenon called climate anxiety. They are, as a wonderful early childhood teacher once characterized her students, all our young people are in the world stew. They are listening, they are observing, they are participating in their own ways. They are receiving lots of information, and what they need is thoughtful adults to help them make sense of it, and thoughtful adults to help them activate their agency so that they can be part of the solution, so that they can decide what the issues are that they want to focus on. The antidote to anxiety and fear and uncertainty is to feel powerful, to feel agentic, to feel as though you can take action and that you can be part of the solution. So can we solve everything at once? No. Will there be some things that will present themselves as more critical than others? That will happen as well. But I think the key is, going back to your notion of a foundation, is how we support and nurture tomorrow's citizens in ways that will allow them to kind of meet whatever comes with agility, with creativity, with courage, and with sort of ways of working together, but also ways of working that we haven't even thought of yet.
I do think we have Andreas with us now.
I'm here.
Very welcome, Andreas.
Hi, Andreas.
Thank you. I can't see you, but I hear you.
Yeah. Well, nice to see you and to hear you. We are discussing the future of school education, as you well know, and we talked a little bit about the capacities of the future teachers, what is needed in the future, and how much can we predict the future. If we look at high-performing education systems today, is there something that we could use as a role model for the future to come? What do you say, Andreas?
Well, I think what is high performance today may not be high performance tomorrow. I think the future will be different. I think the one thing we figured out all in these turbulent times is that schooling is no longer just about teaching students something. No? It's about helping them, about developing a more reliable compass and their tools to navigate through this increasingly complex, volatile world throughout their lives. And I'm not sure any education systems is yet prepared for this. No? In a way, so success in schooling today is about building curiosity. It's about opening minds. It's about compassion, opening hearts, and it's about courage, mobilizing our cognitive, social, and emotional resources to take action. And those are also going to be probably our best bet against the biggest threats of our times: the ignorance, the closed minds, or hate, the closed heart, and fear, the enemy of agency. And if you think around those lines, our current metrics of successful schools are probably not enough to get us there. But clearly, those education systems that have built very strong foundation skills, that have made teaching not just financially but intellectually attractive, that have moved away from the very industrial organization of work towards a more professional organization of work, where teachers are great designers of innovative learning environments, where they are great coaches, great mentors, great facilitators. Clearly, those education systems do have an advantage, and you find them in Northern Europe, you find them in Asia, you find them, in Canada. So I think there is something to build on, but I would not say that success today is going to be a guarantee for success tomorrow.
What challenges do you see in creating this new education system?
The challenges at building sort of the kind of cognitive, social, emotional qualities that are going to count for tomorrow requires a very different, learning environment. In a way, our school systems got very good at educating second-class robots. People are very good at repeating what we tell them. But, in this time of artificial intelligence, we need to think harder what enables us to be human. It requires a different approach to teaching and learning, where teaching was about imparting prefabricated knowledge. Governments could simply tell teachers exactly what to do using this very industrial organization of work. Today, again, the challenge is to make teaching a profession of advanced knowledge workers who work with a high level of professional autonomy and at the very same time with a collaborative culture, learning from their colleagues. And those people, don't like to work as exchangeable widgets in schools that are organized like assembly lines. To attract the people they need, modern school systems need to transform the work organization so that professional norms replace the kind of administrative and bureaucratic structures that we have today. The past was about, received wisdom. The future is about user-generated wisdom. And, teachers who build their careers solely based on knowledge transmission will face the same fate as truck drivers, in a world of automated vehicles. I think that's really what we need to keep in mind. We need to see the emergence of a new profession. Also, the past was divided, with teachers and content neatly divided into subjects and students separated by expectations about their future careers. Schools were designed to keep students inside and the rest of the world outside. With a lack of engagement of families, a reluctance often to partner in network with other schools. And the future needs to be a lot more integrated in this. And last but not least, in the past, schools were technological islands with technology conserving existing practice rather than transforming it. And students were always outpacing schools in their adoption of technology. In the future, schools need to use technology to liberate learning from past conventions and connect learners in very, very different ways. And that is really, I think, a very different work organizations we're talking about now.
Mm-hmm. Time is running out. Thank you so much, Lynn Goodwin, and thank you so much, Andreas Schleicher, for joining us here. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.